Read closely. One of William Shakespeare's most intense poems reveals a truly desperate declaration of war against time. This is the title page of the 1609 publication of Shakespeare's Sonnets. Early in this collection, we find a sequence of 17 poems known as the Procreation Sonnets. Throughout these poems, the speaker addresses a beautiful young man. His message is a persistent urge to have children, to preserve his physical beauty before youth inevitably fades. Without immediate action, everything the subject represents will vanish into a permanent vacuum. Sonnet 6 begins with a direct command. Shakespeare writes, "Let not winter's ragged hand deface in thee thy summer." He maps the human lifespan onto the turning of the seasons. Summer represents the peak of youth and vitality, while winter arrives inevitably to bring decay and eventually death. This establishes a rhythm we all recognize before Shakespeare raises the stakes. Time is the approaching winter, moving steadily forward to strip away the subject's identity. Shakespeare then moves past these natural observations to propose an actionable, chemical solution. The poet issues a strange command. The young man must distill his beauty before that metaphorical winter arrives. In the 17th century, people extracted floral essence to create perfumes. Though petals withered, the fragrance remained. Having a child mirrors this distillation. Physical beauty fails, but through a child, your core essence survives, leaving the original behind. Procreation is redefined here as a scientific method for the preservation of the self. The romantic chemistry now gives way to a cold, calculated interest in finance. Shakespeare introduces the concept of forbidden usury, the practice of lending money to collect interest. While usury was widely considered immoral in his time, the text turns it into a strict moral imperative. The logic operates like a financial ledger. Investing your beauty into a child means you aren't giving away a part of yourself. You are making a high-yield investment. The text lays out the exact mathematics. If you have 10 children, you compound your initial investment to become 10 times thyself. The act of generation becomes a financial multiplication. It spreads the self so wide that it essentially bankrupts death. The speaker's tone hardens, moving from a strategic counselor to a frustrated interrogator. He asks a very direct question. Why would you willingly choose to vanish completely? There is a palpable frustration in these lines. The poet cannot comprehend why someone would waste such a fleeting gift. The final couplet forces a binary choice. You can die leaving no child, or you can pass the flame forward to conquer death. The ultimatum leaves no middle ground. You choose either total erasure or an enduring legacy. When we zoom out from this historical advice, a broader human condition begins to emerge. Underneath the surface mechanics of chemistry and economics, Sonnet 6 reveals humanity's universal terror of being forgotten. It taps into the core desire to leave something tangible behind, something that stands as proof and says, "I was here." Classical poetry functions as a mirror. Behind the archaic language, we find very modern anxieties staring back at us. If you want to find more of these human stories inside classical texts, subscribe and stay with us. Sonnet 6 continues to survive because its central conflict never ages. The desperate fight against time is the one battle every human generation shares.